Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Today we're back on the updates 1.85 second dev server and we're having a look at one of the premium vehicles that you can buy as a pack vehicle in order to get into the Italian closed beta access or closed beta test, I suppose you would call it. Basically, if you want to get access to the Italians once they come out, you have to either buy the Leoncello, the M43 Semavente, the M60A1 or the M26 D.C.Ariete. So this is the high tier one. It's rank 5, battle rating 8.3, and if you want to have a look at the pack, you can see it on the Gaijin store. So let's go through what the M60A1 Italian version is, since it seems to be slightly different to what I thought it was. When we look at the armor view of the M60A1, we have a 108mm plate on the front, angled at 65, which is pretty nice. Then you've got 137 below it, with a little area here of 165mm, with also 170mm below that. So nothing to really write home about, but at 8.3, where people are slinging APFSDS and HeatFS, you know, they're going to go through this the majority of the time. On top of this, the turret is it's not bad. I generally like the M60 turret, especially the upgraded one, which we see here on the M60A1. It's got 127mm mantlets, flanked by 50.8. Then it has 215mm on these little cheek areas, and then it has little quadrants which have been modeled in, which are really nice. I much more prefer how this is done, where each quadrant has a different armor value instead of just a blanket bit like this. So the front quadrant is 142, then 132, 116, 97, 102, and 89. And the reason for this is so when you're looking at it, if you hit this area, it's going to be different to hitting this area, and so on and so forth. Also, if we take off the externals, you can see that there is quite a few added on. Basically, the extra stuff like the fuel tanks, or the gas canisters, or whatever you want to call them, they're 5mm of extra armor, which may screw you up. And also these little things right here as well, which look to me like optical ports, and then of course the tracks as well, which count for the 20mm. But if we take all of that stuff off, on the side you have about 70 or 30 or 45, so nothing once again to write home about. And then the turrets that we talked about, there's 50mm turret ring. Once again, not great. On the booty, you're looking at 25, 40, 28, and 57 on the top of, on the back of the turret. On the top, you're looking at 25, 48, and then 76 on this random armored plate, and then 20mm on the deck of the engine. Then you have 36mm here. So the majority of the armor on the top of it will actually stop, small arms fire coming in. It obviously won't stop bombs or some, the AP rockets. It'll deal with, the HE rockets pretty well. But overall, it's good enough against small arms fire, which is good enough. That's what you want. When we come to the front armor, I generally don't think it's very strong, but the turret can bounce some shells. Generally, when you run the M60, which is at I believe 7.7 at the moment, you can bounce some stuff, you can angle it, so you can get the armor to work wonders. So as you can see here, this front plate, you can get up to nearly 300mm angled well, and then this is also 300, but if they know where to shoot, they can shoot right here, and if they can get through the track, which is 20mm, then they only have to hit, about 120, 130, but it all depends on, where you're angled and everything like that. For me personally, I think you can angle this so it has good armor, and so you can ricochet. The turret itself, though, just shoot it right dead center. And the reason why I say that is it's only a 4-man crew, and the crew is lined up in quite an interesting way. Pretty much similar to a lot of stuff, right? So you have the driver, then you got the gunner, the commander, and the loader. So if you want to shoot the turret anywhere, and you are confident that you can pen it and you can only see the turret, you obviously shoot here. You hit the gunner, you hit the commander, you take them both out, and then you're left with a 2-man crew. If you're feeling a bit more adventurous, if you shoot the right-hand side and you pierce the loader, well, you got a first stage ammo rack right here, 37 piece, and what that means is you will detonate the whole damn thing. But that's if you are confident in your rounds to be able to do this. There are a lot of rounds in game that I'll be confident doing this with, such as APFSDS, but if we're talking about heat or APDS, which is most of the time what you'll see around this, unless you're facing Germans, or unless you're using Germans, then I wouldn't be too confident in doing it. So the driver is also flanked by a ton of ammunition. On top of this, there's a rack of ammunition here. So, my advice to all of you guys who are going to be using this, if you are new to it, don't take more than 30 rounds. If you take, let's say, 25 or 20, which the majority of the time you won't even use 20, then that will get rid of these, it will get rid of this, and you'll only have either this packet here, or you'll have this packet here. And that is so much better to deal with instead of having a driver who is full of ammunition. Because if you put the ammo here and here, you know, as I was talking about the angling, where you can actually make the armor work for you, guess what's right behind this bit? It's a ton of ammo, so it will go poop, and you will die, which is unfortunate. So, yeah, that's a bit of a shame. On top of this, we have the radiator, transmission, 50 kilometers an hour, yeah, maybe if you drop it off a cliff, 750 horsepower engine, which is a very meaty engine, but you gotta remember, this is nearly a 50-ton tank. Like, it may not look like it, but it is. On top of this, you also have some small arms, so you have a 7.62 millimeter, which is in a coaxial position, and then on top of this, a 12.7 millimeter in the top, which can deal with some aircraft stuff. Then you have some smoke launchers. The smoke launchers, if you see, where actually are they? Oh, here they are. The smoke launchers are on the side. Some shoot to the right, others shoot to the left. Bingo, bango, simple as. So, the modifications that we're looking at from this machine, remember, this is a premium vehicle, so you will get all of the modifications standard that you see here, so you don't have to worry about a stock grind. One of the problems with a lot of the American vehicles in rank 4/rank 5 is the stock grind is abysmal. Well, with the M60A1 D.C.Ariete, you don't have to worry about that because it's premium. So, you have the M456 Heat FS shell. What this is a 1,000 Silver Lion killer machine. So if you are fine with wasting, well, not wasting, but using Silver Lions, you know, if you have quite a lot in the bank, then just equip this and annihilate everything. If you're not comfortable with using that, you're going to have to really get used to using an APDS shell, which is substandard. Basically what I mean by this is when it pens, it sometimes only yellows crew members, and that's all it will do. And for this, that's not what you need at this level. If you do that against any of these newer vehicles, like the OF40 Mark IIA, which is at 8.7, by the way, remember that. The automatic is at 9.0, and the... Oh, sorry, you won't be facing them anyway. But, yeah, so the OF40 Mark IIA is at 8.7, so a lot of people are going to be playing this, and probably playing this as well. So you'll get up-tiered into 8.7 a lot. Guess what is at 8.7? A German powerhouse of the Leopard A1A1. Leopard A1A1 L44 and the TAM, ridiculous lineup. Then if we have a look at the Americans, at around about 8.3, you know, you have the AOS, which is basically your brother. I actually think they just copied this straight over. You also have the Sheridan and the M60, so they're not that strong at 8.7. The British at 8.7. Now that they have the Shock Cal Delay, yep, they're coming, and they're going to be running their Chieftain Mark V along with it. Then you have a look at France, who have a new 8.3, which the AMX-10RC, where its round is going to go through you like butter, and then they have the 30B2, which will do the same. So there is a lot of competition at this BR for your vehicle, and your armor isn't going to stand up, so your gun has to. Your gun has to be able to either one-shot or severely cripple whatever it is shooting at, and the only way to really be able to do this is by using the Heat FS on it. And yes, it's going to cost you 1,000 a shot, but since you are in a premium vehicle, you can see the rewards at the bottom there. Now these are obviously subject to change, but what I can say is no matter what you do, or no matter what changes, the reward that you get for RP will still be higher than the vehicles in the main tech tree, and so will the Silver Lions reward. You can see that you get plus 50% Silver Lions there for using this premium vehicle. So everybody else is getting 100, you're getting 150. Therefore, if you're doing this, I think it is correct to fire the Heat FS round. I actually would recommend you to do it, even though it's really, really expensive. Now, also, the repair cost of this right now is 13,000, so I'm sure that will go down because because it is crazy high right now. So especially for a premium vehicle. As I said, I just think they straight up copied this from the American tree. It only has 3 camos, so it's got the standard one that you see here, so the general brown tinge, I think is the way to say it, and then it has the Desert Camouflage Light, which is a lighter color. I like it personally, but it won't keep you actually, you know, hidden in the desert. And then the white camo, which looks very lovely. You can see that it's just like the M60A1. It has a bunch of different little decals on it, which make it unique for the Italian tree. On top of this, when we talk about the M60A1, every time I've had a look at it online, or just in general, I have never ever seen it mentioned that it had a stabilizer. Now, if you guys have a source on this thing having a stabilizer, or if the Italians used one that had a stabilizer, or, you know, they retrofitted one, or they used the AOS, and for some reason they've decided that in-game it's going to be called the A1. By the way, that's an i7 back there, just to haunt your dreams. But with this M60A1 in-game, it has a stabilizer. So that to me just seems weird. Now, for me, the AOS stands for add-on stabilizer or additional stabilizer. So with that, I'm very surprised this has a stabilizer. It doesn't really make sense to me, but if there is some kind of source out there which you can point me to, which says it should have one, please let me know. If not, then I would like it to be changed. I understand that, you know, people will want a higher tier vehicle, which is Italian as a premium. But for me, I just don't think it's right. The stabilizer in general is very good for this machine. The stabilizers for the later tier M60s, it works very well because the M60 itself doesn't go extremely fast. Like, it's good enough, it moves around, it canters around at a decent click, but it ain't a Leopard, you know? It ain't something like that. It's better than the British, worse than the German, very similar to the Soviets with their maneuverability. So, shooting on the move is easy to do with the M60A1, the Italian one. And something to also note with it is the fact that it is very tall. And one thing that will get you killed a lot, well not a lot, remember we're talking about realistic here. Poof, that looked beautiful. One thing that will get you killed a lot is you see that nice little cupola on the top there, where your commander is sat. Well, you know what that also is? It's a really obvious way of telling that you're coming. And also, they kind of fixed it a while back, and you can still do it though. People will HE that top cupola, and the HE will bounce down and annihilate your turret. On top of this, you can also do it with APHE. You know, I've done it many times with the German 88, so that is something to watch out for. You want to make sure that if you are engaging an enemy, that you are either doing it defensively in any of the M60s or the M48, or you are engaging them after they have fired. And if you don't do this, and you actually go aggressively into them, or you are waiting for them to push you, or something like that, and you both can see each other, they're just going to try and cupola trap you. And sometimes it'll work, sometimes it won't, but the issue is you can make that scenario, which is a 50%, into 100% by just waiting for them to come to you. It is easy to do, you know, you just need a little bit of patience, and you should be able to do it. Now, would I recommend this vehicle? I think that's the next question. No. I wouldn't. And the reason why I wouldn't recommend this vehicle is, first of all, I disagree with the idea of just adding in a rank 5 premium as a pre-order vehicle. I don't think that's a good idea. Secondly, when it comes to the historical accuracy of it, everything that I have personally read shows me that this vehicle should not have a stabilizer on it. So from my perspective, of somebody who enjoys the historical accuracy of stuff, that would make me kind of hypocritical. And on top of it, the other thing is the M60 is massive. As I said before, it's an easy target to kill. People see it coming. The only way to really hide it is if you really, really play defensively. And for me, you know, I really enjoy that. You know, I enjoy the defensive nature of War Thunder, but I understand a lot of people don't. So if you are much more it fires all 8 at once. That's cool. If you are more defensively minded, then yes, this you can make this vehicle work. Are there better vehicles to do it with? Yes, and that is the other thing. The OF40 can do exactly what this vehicle does, and better. It does have a big booty, you know, the OF40, but it has a wonderful gun and access to some wonderful rounds. So the only reason you'd get this is as a backup to the OF40, and I can't justify $50 for a backup to that type of vehicle. I think it would be much better if you want to get into the Italian tree early, to get yourself the Leoncello, to have a little bit of fun at lower tiers, and then as you move into higher tiers, make sure to research vehicles in lineups before you go forward. In the 8.0, in the 8.7, in the 9.3, and in the 6.7 before you create a whole lineup out of it. Because you're gonna have a much better time instead of buying this and getting, well, not annihilated by anything that comes in, but you're not buying, you know, a really powerful vehicle. You're buying one which is very much, it's very much not meta at the moment. If you look at all the other vehicles at 8.3, 8.7, the M60 is not one that you put in the list for a meta vehicle, and that, to me, is the problem with it. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.